It's a new week, which means it's time for a new episode of Campfire Cooking in Another World with My Absurd Skill Season 2. Yep, it's Joe from the Trillionth Channel, or my Trillionth Channel, I guess, and this is going to be my review of Episode 5 of the Campfire Cooking in Another World with My Absurd Skill Season 2. And like usual, there will be spoilers. And also, please like and subscribe. So let's start with a quick recap, AI recap style.
Picking up from where Episode 4 ended, the episode begins with Mukoda and the gang coming across the boss monster of the 22nd floor, a snake kaiju of sorts. After the gluttonous trio quickly beat the snake kaiju, Mukoda and the gang reach a transportation circle to get to the 23rd floor, which turns out to house giant monsters. A fact that excites the gluttonous trio, who proceed to take down various giant monsters on the floor. After having traveled the 23rd floor for some time, the gang decide to stop at a safe area and enjoy some delicious pork soup, as well as steak sandwiches and hamburger sandwiches. After the meal, the gang decide to call it a day, but are interrupted by an adventures party carrying an injured individual into the safe area. Mukoda hands over some high-grade potions to the party leader who uses it, and is shocked to find that it instantly healed the injured individual. Surprised, yet grateful, the party introduces themselves as the A-rank party, Tempest, and pay for Mukoda's potion. They also explain how their party member was injured after having to unexpectedly face 3 Spriggans in the dungeon floor's boss room. After having gotten a day's rest and parting ways with the Tempest party, Mukoda and the gang go off to face the 3 Spriggans in the dungeon floor's boss room. After having one-shotted the Spriggans, Mukoda collects some dropped items, and the gang move on to the next few floors that, according to Fell's nose, are filled with more giant monsters. Mukoda bravely tries to take on giant monsters himself, but ends up on his butt as the monsters try to attack and get through his perfect defense skill. A sight that the familiars find unimpressive and sad. From there, the gang continue to clear multiple dungeon floors and end up on the 29th floor, a floor that surprised the entire gang with its desert layout. While initially excited by this new environment, the familiars and Mukoda quickly realize that the desert is hot and uncomfortable. It's so hot, in fact, that S2E almost melts in the heat. The gang quickly decide to take refuge in a shady area, where Fell puts up a barrier to make the heat more bearable, and Mukoda uses his online supermarket skill to get help make the heat more bearable. With the power of Pocari Sweat, a Japanese sports drink, and ice cream, Mukoda and the gang recover a bit and proceed to venture further into the desert, fighting and beating the various monsters that they come across along the way. At night, the gang are forced to spot due to the dark environment and the sudden cold that creeps up at night in the desert. Mukoda prepares a rockbird nabayaki udon to help warm everyone up, and the entire gang go to bed like one big happy family. From there, the gang are able to beat the floor boss for the desert floor and get to the transportation circle to get to the 30th floor, otherwise known as the dungeon's final floor. Upon activating the magic floor, the gang are immediately taken to the boss of the final floor, a behemoth. Both Dora and S2E try to one-shot. The behemoth are immediately blasted away due to the behemoth's resistance to physical and magical attacks. In order to take down the behemoth, Fell strategizes and coordinates attack with Dora, and S2E, and with a bit of effort and time, are able to take the behemoth down. The defeated behemoth leaves behind a magic sword called Khalidbolg, a dungeon dropping that Mukoda decides to store in his item box. Seeing at how the final floor without the dungeon boss is basically a safe area, the gluttonous trio persuade Mukoda to make something to eat, and Mukoda decides to celebrate the conquering of the dungeon with a fried food party. With tons of rockbird fried chicken, deep-fried skewers, and American corn dog, the gluttonous trio are left thoroughly satisfied, and Mukoda is left exhausted from the effort.
And that's where episode 5 leaves us. So, thoughts. The first 10 minutes of this episode, I don't know if it was just me, but I found it to be a little bit, how shall I put it, repetitive. I mean, it is just a continuation of the dungeon diving speedrun. The showcasing of the gang clearing various levels of the dungeon in a slideshow format was neat, and helped keep things from feeling too bogged down, but it still felt a little repetitive. And the introducing of the Tempest Party, which occurs in the first 10 minutes of the show, was neat. They are a party that become recurring characters within the series, but I don't know, it felt a little unnecessary for this episode. I could have gone without it, and I probably wouldn't have noticed or complained. Honestly, it's yeah, the first 10 minutes was kind of rough for me. It just felt repetitive. Things, of course, start to turn around after the first 10 minutes when the gang arrive in the dungeon floor that is a desert. Sui almost melting was both funny and horrifying at the same time, and the appearance of the Pocari Sweat was very fun for me, not just from the it's another product placement perspective, but it's a drink that I genuinely enjoyed having when I went to Japan as a little kiddo during the summer. There's nothing like gulping down a cold Pocari Sweat to make you feel alive on a hot summer day. Also, them getting Pocari Sweat sponsorship just shows how sponsor-friendly the show is. Most animes don't get that right, so whenever they introduce a Pocari Sweat-esque drink within an anime, they usually use a parody name like Pokey Sweats or whatever. From my perspective, the desert adventure and the dungeon floor boss, final floor boss fight was what really saved the episode. Otherwise, it would have been a pretty mid-episode in my opinion. Seeing Fel, Sui, and Dora-chan actually struggle and have to coordinate attacks was a nice breakaway from the usual one-shotting of all the monsters that they meet. And not only that, the whole battle was animated really well. The animators did not cheap out on animating the battle sequence, and I can truly appreciate that, especially because of how lackluster some of the animation in some of the animes of this fall season has been. And of course, they also didn't cheap out on the food animations, right? The frying of various foods in the fried food party was done well, and all the foods, not just the fried stuff, were shown in such delightfully appetizing ways. I mean, I don't think any true American can complain about how the American corn dog was presented here. Just beautiful. Definitely a shout out to the MAPPA animation production studio, which is behind this specific series. Perhaps the product placement from Nishin Seifun Wellna, SNB Foods, Kikko Man, Pocari Sweat, Meiji, and others are helping fund this level of animation quality. And if that's it, well, thank goodness for product placements. Overall, fun episode, a bit of a slow start in my opinion, but it quickly catches up after the first half, and it absolutely nails the ending. I think it's a very fun episode. And I know that the story is meant to be more laid back, and it's not meant to be, big and exciting at times, but I think there is a limit to how many times one can go through the dungeon diving process before it gets to be a bit much. And even in the light novel version of the series, it's the dungeon diving bits can get a bit long and tiring, so I'm kind of glad that the anime just made it two episodes, and from here I think we're gonna see Makoto and the gang do a little bit more of that whole exploring the world and maybe finding new monsters, and maybe go get that seafood that Fel was all interested in during the first season. But those are my thoughts. Feel free to let me know if you agree or disagree in the comments down below, and make sure to like the video if you enjoyed it. And if you want to enjoy some Pocari Sweat tonight in your dreams, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I cannot send you Pocari Sweat in real life, but the dream version of me is rich with Pocari Sweat and more than willing to share with his subscribers. So make sure to hit the subscribe button if you want to have some Pocari Sweat in your dreams. Oh, and this is less important, but if you do subscribe, you will also get more videos from me, which is a nice little bonus. Not that important though when compared to the Pocari Sweat in your dreams. Thanks for watching.